Andy here on the farm. We are doing a little service work today. I've got my 2018 Nissan Titan XD in the shop here. We're getting ready to do an oil change service, and we might rotate the tires. I'm going to look at them. Now this one is the it's got the 5.6 V8 in it. It's not the Cummins. It's the 5.6 V8. We've got roughly 16,000 miles on this truck. Been a good truck so far. Got plenty of power. It's a little dirty right now. It's been real wet around here. But anyways, that's it, and we're getting ready to get into getting this oil change started. First off, all you need is a basic oil pan. I like these pans here, especially if you're doing a gas vehicle. A diesel vehicle, it don't hold enough oil for them. But with a gas vehicle, I really like these pans. They work good. You can lay your filter right here and let it drain, and you've got the little oil plug right there. You raise it up and let it fill up, and then once you're done, you can close it off and seal this one off, and you can pour every bit of your oil into whatever you store your oil in, or dispose of your oil in, whatever. But they work real good. And all you really need to get the oil plug out is a 14mm socket. This one is a Cobalt 14mm. But anyways, we're gonna get under here and see if we can get this oil started. Get it all drained out. An old fat guy like me is kind of tough to get in under this thing. It sets just a little low. So I'm not 100% sure you can see that in the camera. It's pretty dark under there. But the oil plug is located right in front of this cross member that runs across in front of the engine, right here. So like I said, it is a 14mm. We're gonna get this thing loose. Let the oil drain while we check our air filter and everything else. Another thing I really like about this pan, if you drop your oil plug, you don't have to go fishing for your oil plug. It's always laying on top. And you always make a mess when you change oil. Wouldn't be an oil change without making a mess, would it? So we're going to let that drain. Now this engine is warm, so it should run out pretty good. And that's one thing I recommend, is having a warm engine when you change oil. That way the oil is sort of thin and it drains out of the engine faster, and it's most likely for it to all run out. Alright, so while the oil's draining, there's our engine. Now, like I said, this is the 5.6 V8. But while the oil's draining, I always like to check over everything. I mean, our antifreeze is looking good. Brake fluid's looking good. Now right here's the air filter. I'm gonna pull it out and check it. I do not have a replacement for it, so if it needs to be replaced, I'll have to get one. But I want to say I changed it last time I changed oil, but I do not remember. Darn, it looks like we need to get one. Look at that thing. It's pretty darn dirty. So we'll be picking up an air filter for sure. Ain't that funny how you do things? The guy at the auto parts store even asked me if I needed an air filter this time.
Is the green the dirty stuff?
No, the black is the dirty stuff. The guy at the auto parts store even asked me this time if I need an air filter, and I said no. I think I changed it last time. Apparently I was wrong. It doesn't look like it's been changed. So we'll be picking up an air filter, but that's one thing you want to check when you're doing your oil in any vehicle, not just a Nissan Titan, is to make sure you've got your air filters checked. Check all your fluids. Oh, why can't, there it goes. So you add the oil in on this one right there. And we gotta get down there. Once all the oil gets done draining, we'll put the oil filter on. Now here's the oil. These new Nissan engines take this 0W20. That's what they recommend for them. My wife's Honda Accord also takes the 0W20. But I'll have to check here in just a few minutes. I can't remember. I got 7 quarts here, but I don't think it takes quite that much. I am going to check the specs here in just a second. Now, I am crawling under the front of this truck. This is where the oil filter is mounted. It's in the front. Now, one thing I do not like, I don't know if it's bright enough for you guys to see. Let me grab my light. Jacob, what? Can you hand me that light laying over there? Yeah. It's always nice to have a little helper around, especially when you're laying underneath a vehicle. Bring it on over here to my hand. All right. The oil filter, I still don't think I'm going to be able to pick it up and show it to you. Anyways, there's a skid plate right there in front of it. You can see it right there in front of the camera. This. The oil filter is mounted up in yonder under that skid plate. So in order to take the oil filter off, we have to at least take these bottom 3 bolts out of the skid plate here. Now it's just plastic. I've done this once before, and you can fold that skid plate down enough to get to the oil filter, but I don't know, I just think it's kind of stupid, because when I go to change oil in something, I kind of want it to be an easy job. Alright, so this skid plate takes a 12mm socket, and I'm just going to take these bottom 3 bolts out. And the best I can remember, I've only changed oil in this thing one other time, so the best I can remember, that's all it took was these 3 bolts. I got them out, and I could bend down this skid plate enough to get to that filter. I hope you can see. I don't know if y'all are going to be able to see this oil filter in there or not, because it's tight. This is my least favorite part about this truck. I will say though, other than this, I really like this truck. get in there one day. It'd probably help if I just go ahead and take the whole skid plate off. But I done it last time without doing this. I may end up having to take this whole skid plate off. God, I don't want to. It's got too many bolts in it. Alright. I finally got it up in there and got it loose. Loose enough to get to it with my hand. And there's no good way the oil can come out without running all over the frame either. Like I said, I don't really like that either. This is the one thing I do not like about this truck is the oil filter location. We're just going to lay that up in there. We'll let that drain for a little bit. Alright, so I've got the new filter here, which this is a Purelator Boss PVL 14610. This is the filter that came with the package deal that I got with the oil. Now when I use the old filter here is a Mobile 1. I always like to take and make sure everything looks about the same. Make sure, you know, especially if I'm using a different brand, make sure they look the same. And I'll even take and match them up. And when you match them up like that right there, that transfers oil to that new seal. And a lot of people say you have to use clean oil or you need to use clean oil. I don't think it really matters because that oil is not exactly what you call dirty. And when you're just taking it, wipe it all the way around that seal just to make sure you got a good lubricated seal. Then I will take a little bit of clean oil and put right down there on the threads before I screw my filter on. Now a lot of filters you'll need to fill up before you put oil in them. I mean before you screw them onto the engine, especially in a big diesel truck that's got a big filter. But with this little filter and the way it angles onto the engine, there's really no way you can fill it up before you put it on, because as you're screwing it on, the angle, it would just run back out. And it's not going to take but just a few seconds to fill up that small of a filter anyways. Alright, now get it good and tight as you can with your hand. And on one that's kind of difficult to get to, now I don't do this on one if it's really easy to get to and I can get a good grip on it, but one that's difficult to get to, I'll always take my oil filter wrench and get back in there and just do a good little snug on it, just to make sure you got it tight. Like I say, you know, this one's tight to get to, tough to get to. You can't just get a good grip on it. Like I said, if you could get a good grip on it, it'd be fine getting it hand tight. And I might turn it a quarter turn, if that. Just to snug it up a little. But that's it under here. We're going to put our bolts back in for our skid plate. We get these put in and we'll move back to the top side. Alright, so we got our oil plug in, we got our oil filter screwed on, we got the skid plate bolted back up. And wouldn't you know, I'm too short to reach that. Get my stool. It's one thing that gets me about this truck. You can't reach nothing under the hood of it because it sits so tall. But yet you can't get under the darn thing because it ain't got no ground clearance. Golly, that thing is tight. There we go. Alright. So I looked it up a while ago. Like I said, I've only changed oil in this thing one time. And it shows that it takes 5.9 quarts. So like I said, I've got 7. Now, let me tell you one thing that's real important is to always make sure you've got a clean filter. Because you could bring in a lot of trash through your filter if it's not clean. But like I said, it takes 5.9 quarts. And so I've got a 5-quart jug here. And then I've got 2 extra 1-quart jugs. So we're going to pour this 5 quarts in there first. Now always hold your jug sort of to the side and let it run out easy. That way it don't go gulping for air. I don't know if y'all can hear or not. Jacob's back here talking and playing and drawing on the floor with chalk. Ain't you? Little boy goes everywhere with his daddy. He's my right-hand man. Say, Jacob, tell him what you're doing. You're drawing a tractor with chalk. It's all about tractors. But we're down to the last little bit here. So we let that little drain out. Then I'm going to check it. Now on this truck here, you've got a dipstick right down. There's a little yellow handle. So as soon as I pull the dipstick out, I always wipe it off. Then I go back and stick it back in and check it. Yep, so right now it shows we are 1 quart low. So we'll pour almost a whole quart, 1 more quart in it, and we should be topped off good to go. Alright, let's go back and check it one more time. That should be about perfect. Now normally I'll take a paint marker and mark on the filter when I change the oil, how many miles, what date it was. Actually, it looks like it could take just a little bit more. I think I'm going to pour the rest of that quart in there. Because it's still got to fire up and pour a little bit into the, fill the filter up. But, like I said, normally I take a paint marker and mark on my filter when I change the oil, the miles. If it's on a piece of equipment, I put the hours in. But since this filter is so hard to get to and so hard to see, I don't do that. What I do is put one of those little stickers right up there in the corner of the windshield. That way, as I'm driving down the road, I can look and say, "Oh, it's about time to change oil." But Jacob, you can go put that in the trash. But anyways, that's how I keep up with it on this truck. Now, I'm gonna let that filter drain a little bit more. I'll check the engine oil one more time, and we should be good. Yep, it's showing perfect. So folks, that's about all there is to do on a 2018 Nissan Titan as far as changing oil. It's a pretty simple process, pretty much like changing oil and anything else. The only thing you have to do is use this new type of oil, that's the 0W20. And I think they run that thin oil mainly for like gas mileage reasons or something. I don't know. I'm not all up into that. I just know that's what it takes. I am going to rotate the tires. I'm going to go ahead and rotate the tires. I'm not going to video all that. Just your basic move this tire to the back corner, move that tire to the front corner, and vice versa. But anyways, like I say, that's usually what I do in an oil change on this truck. I plan to keep this truck for a while. This is kind of like our nice vehicle, the vehicle we go on vacation, on trips, go to town in, whatever. Plus, it's still big enough that I can pull a trailer with it if I need to and haul a load or whatever I need to do. But anyways, I appreciate you watching. I hope you learned something here. If you've got a Nissan Titan XD, and hopefully this showed you how to change oil. Like I said, it's nothing too special about it. The oil filter is a pain to get to, but other than that, it's relatively simple. But as always, thanks for watching. If you like seeing this kind of stuff, maybe consider subscribing to the channel, and we're gonna head out on this one. Tell them bye, Jacob.
Bye.
All right, we'll catch you on the next one.